Okay, first of all, I am really sorry for the audio quality in this video. I don't know why it sounds this bad. I do not want to redo this. I know it sounds really lazy, but, let's try and see if your ears can endure this. Bye. Hello, MicroStation crew. It's Mr. Krabs55 here to welcome you all to my newest series yet, Listalgia. This will be one of my most ambitious three-parters yet, three-parter status pending, as I'll have a collaboration with other YouTubers to help me along the journey. The Listalgia series will help archive all the nostalgic pieces of merch that helped enlighten my consumer mind back in the day, so let's go! As a 2000s kid, there were a lot of old and nostalgic video games that were around during that time, especially marking the golden age of mobile apps. And not just mobile apps, video games in general. There was Angry Birds, Cut the Rope, Bloons Tower Defense, Plants vs. Zombies, and so much more. So today, I'll be looking at a few of my favorite nostalgic franchises and take a long look at the line of merchandise that they had back then. And who knows, if I get positive reception and recommendations of franchises back then, I'll probably make a part 2. Also, I'll be having a special guest in the middle of this video, so stay tuned. But enough gushing. Let's go. While I haven't played any Bloons games as a kid, unfortunately, I do understand it's a great and very nostalgic franchise. This one will be quick. The earliest known piece of Bloons merchandise I can find is this, a BTD5 Super Monkey plush toy. This chonky boy's date of production is unfortunately unknown, but definitely around the time of TD5, of course, so probably around 2015, as of the posting of this Twitter post by Ninja Kiwi. The toy was priced around $15 to $20, and from the looks of it, it was made of some sort of fuzzy material of a higher density to the BTD6 Dart Monkey plush toy, although we're getting ahead of ourselves. Now, the toy looks flawed, to say the least, but it still gets the job done. You've got the TD5 design of the Super Monkey, his cape, the belt and red boots, his emblem smacked down on his chest, which is made of a stitched print, and if you look even closer, you can even see his tail. I really love the attention to detail on this plush, even though it has, well, stuff to be desired. I'm just gonna stop beating around the bush here and say that this is kind of an ugly plush toy, I'm sorry to say. Unfortunately, that's the only piece of TD5 merch. Now's where the fun begins. Bloons TD6 allowed Ninja Kiwi to bloom when it came to expanding their merchandise department. Welcome to the Ninja Kiwi store, where you can find product after product with design after design smacked onto them. We've got t-shirts, phone cases, beach towels, hats, face masks, mugs, pillows, hoodies, baby onesies, and you guessed it, more plush toys. Now, these cuties sadly haven't been sold on the NK store itself, but NK have also made posts about these plush toys, and they were on a website known as Makeship, where you have to pay for a plush toy, and if it gets enough backers, then it will be made into an actual plush toy, and it'll be sent out to the people who funded it. Kinda like Change.org or any other petition site, although it actually works! They are absolutely astonishing and are some of my favorite pieces of video game plush toy merch I know of. Sure, they're quite big-brained, but that's the charm of them in my opinion. They kinda remind me of Fumos a lot, you know, those funny face sought-after Toho plush toys everyone wants. I think it's the stubbiness in that darn face, I love it all. This is the Dart Monkey plush toy, Tier 1 to be exact, dart in hand and stitched on face, complete with covers of lightly colored felt material stitched onto his wrist to stimulate tufts of fur. I'm glad they didn't just use that messy faux fur texture, you know the one. It would have made this toy a whole lot messier. You don't just have the Dart Monkey, you also have two of the heroes from the game, being Gwendolyn and Oben Greenfoot. They both look really nice as well. I love how they gave Gwen her signature flamethrower and Molotov, not to mention her fiery hair, although I personally prefer Oben's design. Something about the appealing blue skin mixed with all the green hands and those killer wooden horns. Ooh, I love it. Now, unfortunately, you can't get these plush toys anymore, which is such a shame. With the only way you can get them is via eBay paying a hell of a lot of price, or getting a bootleg version from AliExpress. No thanks. I'm grateful for my Dart Monkey. Fortunately, and unfortunately, as of the typing of the script, there have been plans for 3 new plush toys, the Ninja Monkey, the updated Super Monkey, which looks a hell of a lot better than the TD5 version, and Quincy, so I'm super excited. Plushies I'd like to see are Pat Fusty, Boomerang, and Ice Monkey. And, unfortunately, I was on vacation, so now these plush toys are also out of stock. Sorry. Now with that out of the way, it's time to get into oh my, this will certainly be quite the rabbit hole for me to go down. This is a franchise that I hold near and dear to my heart, and it's a shame seeing the Joker arc this franchise has gone down, but Unfortunately, that's just how business goes. Besides my ramblings, while I couldn't pinpoint the first ever piece of PVC merch due to the gargantuar size of the franchise, see what I did there? Not to mention the influx of bootlegs floating all over the internet, I was able to remember the first things that came to my mind when I think of PVZ official merch. Those being the classic PVZ-1 plush toys, the action figures with the classic PVZ-1 charm, and even the highly sought-after Funko Pops. The plush toys are, as I said before, classic, and really show how important Plants vs. Zombies was to PopCap, as they were branching out from being just a small indie development studio. I had to go down such a strange and mysterious rabbit hole just to see if these images I'm showing you right now showing off bootlegs or not. I feel so confused right now because I want to talk about the quality of legit plush toys, but I also don't want to spend my time talking about the Chinese bootlegs. I mean, come on, look at this. Going back to the action figures, there are some really well-made and official Garden Warfare 1 and 2 action figures. Look at the attention to detail with the molding and the paint. They genuinely look as if models ripped straight from the game got plopped into real life. Super Mario in real life! There's also some more lesser-known PVZ merch, such as this reskin of the board game Risk, but PVZ-themed, this PVZ PC disc with a sunflower figure, which I've always wanted as a kid, another version being both the normal and disco zombie, a zombie cap, sunflower and walnut hats, a Garden Warfare 2 lunchbox I used to have, pillow outlines of plants and zombies, those weird connects, the Burger King LCD games, and the holy grail of PVZ merchandise, the Gaming Heads collectible figures. With 3 variations, Pea Shooter, Vanilla Zombie, and Conehead Zombie, these rare as jewels figures were highly limited edition, with only 750 sold. I would adore to have these in my possession, although I doubt I'll ever get them, unfortunately. That's enough for Plants vs. Zombies. It's time to talk about another game I used to play on my phone. But this time, I'll allow my very special guest, L Supersonic Q, to take helm of these 3 segments, so take it away, LSSQ.
Hey everyone, I'm L Supersonic Q. I like to talk about lost and forgotten media, particularly from the past, and stuff that's nostalgic to many people. So I feel like I'm quite fit to talk about nostalgic apps such as the 3 coming up. So without further ado, let's get into it. This app was made by the scum of the earth, in which you help a trio of alligators, Swampy, Allie, and Cranky. You help Swampy get water, Allie get steam, and Cranky get nasty green water. It's pretty fun and very nostalgic. I remember this game from back when I was a kid. Now, as the company saw how big the app was getting, they, being a company, decided to milk this alligator down to the bone. We got really high quality plush toys, children's t-shirts, well-made action figures, phone cases, backpacks, beach and shower towels, pins, pens, keychains, a board game, and even actual replicas of the rubber ducks you get in the game. The board game plays like this. You draw a card and get told where to put obstacles on the course. Once you set everything up, you drop a blue ball into the tub. If you get a duck ball, you get an extra point. But if you get the stinky purple ball, you lose a point. That's basically it. Unfortunately, Where's My Water hasn't had a huge run when it comes to being a profitable franchise in their eyes. But hey, it's still nice to see how large of an impact this game had. This app is starting to resurge in its popularity due to memes. Thankfully, this one's short, but buckle up folks, as the next sections will be pretty wild. But let's savor this one while we can. There are really cool spray can designed grab boxes with Tricky, Jake, Fresh, Frank, and an unreleased prototype of Yutani that can be seen here. The can designs are pretty cool. And there are a few other tiny figurines, including the security guard and his dog. There are t-shirt designs and keychains with shoe designs on them. There are even more figures, which come with a train that you can place your figures on top of, which is pretty cool. There was even a crossover with the shoe company Vans, who released styles from the game. Not to mention, there's a plush toy of the spray can with a little face, as well as an unreleased plush of the boombox. Really cool designs for skateboards, a cool cap, and this pop socket. The last thing that seems to be available was a kids magazine that was sold exclusively in Europe, and they're really common there. But now, it's time to get into the meat and potatoes. Zipto smash hit, featuring the adorably gluttonous monster, Om, released March 28, 2014, and was immediately popular. As such, the merch line has a surprising amount of depth to it, especially overseas. Let's start off with all the merch you can normally get in America. You've got Om plush toys, ones that talk, and even ones with candy on a string that you can pull closer to Om's mouth as it goes along. Really cool idea. There are also some holiday-themed ones like Christmas and possibly Easter. There are other costumed variants such as 3D glasses, headphones, a talking hand puppet, and even superhero Om. Can't forget the reversible plush toys either, which change from the box Om it's stored in to Om himself, a star, and a candy. There's the Cut the Rope arcade cabinet, where you have to use a spider with a suction cup attached to pick up boxes marked with candies on the bottom, so it's basically a modified claw machine. There are activity books too, plush keychains, lanyards, t-shirts, regular keychains, Connect 4, a thing called Aptivity, which even has an Angry Birds release, and we'll get into later in the video. What you do is basically start up Cut the Rope, scan it into the screen like an amiibo, see if it detects the Aptivity figure, and if it does, you get to play a minigame. In this case, you move the Om toy around, trying to catch sweets and avoiding spiders. There were also the Nommies. These were basically micro-figures ranging from the candies, the spider, the stars, whoopee cushions, and lots of Om variations. Cut the Rope even had comics. They were made by Keyzoic, an all-age subsidiary of Ape Entertainment. They look as though they were inspired by not only the original Cut the Rope, but also experiments, which is pretty awesome. One of the coolest pieces of CTR merch that we got here in the States was the Cut the Rope board game. You've got the candy launcher, hazards such as spikes, the bubble and the spider, 3 stars, and of course, Om. You draw a card, make the puzzle that's on said card, load up the candy launcher, aim, and launch. The first person to get as many stars in 6 rounds wins. One more thing to mention about the American CTR merch we got was the Om's Playground line of toys. These are basically Rube Goldberg contraptions, allowing the candy to get from point A to point B, being Om's mouth. That's basically all we've got here in the States, but overseas, Zipto kind of went overboard in terms of merch, especially in Europe. There are the kids' magazines typically seen in Europe, chocolate surprise eggs with Om figures in them, and the Happy Meal. This is actually genius, considering Om is all about food, and wouldn't you know, this set is all about fun with fruit. You've got the Om Melon Baller, Popsicle Mold, Juicer, Skewer, Fruit Holder, and Wobbly forked thing. What even is this? Another Popsicle Mold, and a Banana Slicer. Wow, this section was crazy long, but now it's time for me to go. This is all I'll be narrating in the video. Thanks Mr. Krabs55 for having me on. It was a pleasure, and speaking of which, back to you.
Oh yeah, baby. Thankfully, this section will be a whole lot shorter, so not to make this any longer, let's start off by showing off the many, and I mean many, t-shirt designs. See? Quick. We also have the plush toys or fruits of puppet mouth. Sadly, you can't use them as puppets, but they do make the noises from the game, which is nice. We even have the bomb as a plush toy. Awesome. Even Sensei has a plush, although I'm not sure if he makes sounds or not. There's another activity, this time of Sensei. You scan him in Fruit Ninja, and you get to play a 2-player versus version of Fruit Ninja, which is so sick! Unfortunately, it's not a typical multiplayer, as the second player has to toss fruits and bombs at the person who's the ninja off this conveyor. You've got this really cool Sensei figure, which is a backpack clip, and you can't forget this really hard to find LCD Fruit Ninja game. And of course, with an app from its time, there was a strange board game tie-in. There were actually 3 of these, with a collection of 4 being kickstarted, but were ultimately cancelled. The first one released was simply called Fruit Ninja. The aim of the game was to get either one of every fruit, or get 25 of a certain type. The youngest player goes first, and they must cut the entire deck in half, splitting it. This goes for everyone when it's their turn. They must choose to either pick the front or back side. You must hope it's either a fruit or a banana, because if it's a bomb, then you lose some fruits and end your turn. You can save it for the next round. Continue until the goal is ultimately reached. The second game, called Slice of Life, has really cute plastic pieces of fruit and a plastic katana. These are actually necessary playing pieces, and go in conjunction with the cards. The oldest player starts off with the first round, and each reoccurring round starts off with the first card of the deck being flipped over. Some fruits will be cut, while others won't. You must flip over the plastic fruits that you have that match with the ones that have been uncut on the card. However, you can only use your katana and can't flip using your hands. If the player flips over a fruit with a bomb, then that player must flip it back and flip a fruit of the same type, this time without the bomb. Once a player thinks they flipped over all the appropriate fruit, they grab the face-up card in the middle of the table. The two players verify that they've flipped over the right fruit and don't have any bombs face up. If they have the right fruit and no bombs, they get to keep the card. If they made errors, the card automatically goes to the other player. The game is finished once one of the players gets 5 cards. The last card game, called Combo Party, has 2 phases, the fruit phase and the scoring phase. The fruit phase makes the players flip all of their fruit cards down at the same time. If there are matching fruit cards, they must all race to try and grab the totem, this thing. Whoever grabbed it first gets to continue. The scoring phase allows the winning player to gamble. They choose if they want to gain a bigger combo, or if they should be content with their already set-in-stone combo. The bigger the combo, the more points they gain, and the closer they are to winning. So that's basically it for Fruit Ninja. We've got one more topic to cover, and it's probably the most surprising out of all the topics I've covered today. Out of all of these apps, Doodle Jump is, as stated previously, probably the most surprising one to get merchandise out of. It's simply just an endurance-based high-score game, so I can't wrap my head around how much merch was actually made for this game, and while it doesn't have a ton of merch, it's enough to bat an eye and turn heads. You've got both 2D and 3D plush toys made by Sega Prize Europe of all companies, and while the 2D ones are okay, the 3D ones look really cool. My personal favorites are the Scuba Gear, Ninja, and Zombie Doodler. Then here come the Mini Doodles. There were tons of these. There are pictures of them shown off at a toy fair, which I just have to show you all. My favorites were the unreleased ones, like the Springbuck. Sorry. My personal favorites were the unreleased ones, like the SpongeBob, Batman, and Sonic Doodler. There were also Pharaoh, Sumo, Frankenstein, Snorkel, and Rapper Doodler. There were also doodlers with backpack clips, and the Walker Doodlies. They walked when you wound them up, but I don't think they were ever released, and neither did the keychains. There were also the Mega Doodlers, which were basically the same as the Mini Doodlers, but were way bigger, and only had the 3D plush toy variants. There were also a few t-shirts and caps, and before we get into the most shocking thing on this whole video, allow me to take you to the Lima Sky official Zazzle page. They have the aforementioned shirts and hats, but they also have lots of other things, such as Christmas ornaments, and they unfortunately aren't 3D, posters, mugs, and even 2021 calendars. Come on, it's halfway through the year 2022 by now. Hell, barely past that, so I don't think they care much about this store anymore. Now, it's time to get into the craziest and last thing I'll be talking about in this video. The Doodle Jump comic books. Oh yes, this score-based linear jumping game has a full-on comic book line. There were 6 of these things. 6! Okay, you may be dying to know what the story is for this fine piece of literature, and allow me to elaborate. Doodler actually talks, and is characterized as a wisecracking smug mouth, which is very strange, but I kinda like it. Kinda like how I act in real life. Anyways, he starts the comic off by escaping through a black hole into a tundra-like setting. He soon gets chased by the penguin enemies from the game, and as he gets cornered, he meets up with a completely new and original character. His full name is, Stripanza von Spackle, but he likes to go by the name of Triple. He acts as the lore dumper, telling Doodler that he's a part of, prophecy that depicts him as the hero which he'll don the magnesite armor of legend, which will allow the wearer to withstand any element. After Triple takes Doodler to his ninja village, they get ambushed by glitch ninjas, and he shows Doodler his pad, and tells him that he's a thief, and that he's an outcast. They later go to a mall? What the ever-loving hell? Where they fight against a giant orange tentacle monster. I won't even question it anymore. Triple then shows Doodler off to this guy, who's apparently the knower of everything, who tells the duo that the scroll that Triple has been carrying was also a map, showing them where to go. After part of the mall caves in, they go into the cave system, which after a mishap with sentient propellers, they get to pods, which make them not only change clothes, but take them to a factory where black holes are made. Then Doodler gets captured by a, quote-unquote, bruiser bot. As it turns out, the robot is actually nice and is taking Doodler to the manager. The manager is a mad scientist which experiments on Doodler. He then makes a copy of himself? His name is Switchblade. He tells Doodler to become one with his own life, but Doodler refuses, fights a bunch of glitch ninjas, and then wakes up next to the Knower. How the hell did he get here? Anyway, they wake up and start to uncover the manager's scheme the whole time, as he was trying to make the Knower an evil mind-controlled minion with this gem. And while I do like how it was foreshadowed in Book 1 with all the penguins, it doesn't compensate for how sloppy the story is presented. They then release the penguins, which were kept in goo tanks, and get the manager sucked up in a black hole. As it turns out, the prophecy was fake the whole time. Whoa! So yeah, that was the drug trip known as the Doodle Jump comic book series. It was pretty bad, all because it went completely bonkers and off the walls. And well, I hate to make this video go by too long, so allow me to end this video off by saying thanks so much for watching. And thanks for nearly, 300 subscribers? Wow. And hey, speaking of subs, if you leave a like and sub, not to mention comment, I may even make a part 2. And trust me, it'll be way shorter than this crazy fest that this video turned into. Hopefully. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.